Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mensch. The other day, I did a video on installing and using Manjaro XFCE edition. And before I made the video, I tried to install and use off camera Manjaro Gnome edition, and I had trouble with it. Now, in my Manjaro XFCE video, I mentioned that I was going to show you the trouble I had and a workaround I found for the GNOME edition. So today, I'm going to do that. So let's get to it. I'm at the Manjaro website, and what I did was I went to download, and I talked about how there's 3 official images, and I talked about the 3 community images. So in my last video, I downloaded this one, the XFCE edition, and I made a video about it. But before I did that off camera, I tried this edition here, the one that's based on GNOME, and I ran into some problems. And like I said in my introduction, I'm going to show you a workaround. So I've already downloaded the ISO and installed it. Now, I didn't have any trouble downloading it or installing it. It was after installation. So I'm going to close my web browser and go to my virtual machine. So I'm in Virt Manager. And like I said, I already installed Manjaro. I had no trouble booting onto live ISO or installing it, but that's all I did. And since I installed it, I have not rebooted into it yet. I just installed it and powered down. Let's boot up to it. Let's play it, and let's make it full screen. I encrypted it. Let's type in my encryption password. Hit enter. And let's see if we can boot into the brand new installation. And as you can see, it's not booting into the desktop environment. So like I said, I was able to get onto the live ISO and do an install. But after I powered down, I can't get into it. Now, I went through this exercise several times. A couple times, I was able to get into the brand new installation, but after I did an update and updated the system, I couldn't get back in. This time, I can't get back in at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down to a TTY. So if this happens to you in bare metal, you're going to do Control Alt F1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. Now, I think because this is using a display manager or a login manager, it's probably trying to log in on F7. So I'm just going to go to Control Alt F3. So like I said, if it was bare metal, you would do hold down Control Alt, press F3, and get down to the TTY. But because it's a virtual machine and it's Virt Manager, I'm going to do it this way. Let's go down to F3. Like I say, you could go down to try F1 to F7. Probably not F7 because we're probably on F7 now. But I'm going to do an F3. And I'm going to put my username in, Mensch. I'm going to put my password in. Manjaro, regardless of what edition, I don't know about the community editions, but the 3 official flavors of Manjaro, the 3 official ISOs, install both Zesh and the bash shell with configuration files. The GNOME version comes with the Zesh turned on by default, and it's themed really nice. But for some reason, the theme doesn't show up in the TTY. Why? I have no idea. I don't know. So just to make things simple, I'm going to type into, let's go into bash. And let's clear the screen. I want to see if I can make this larger. Set font tier -132B. Oh, the Terminus font is not installed. Let's install it. Let's do sudo pacman s Terminus font. This you don't have to do. I'm just doing this so I can make the font larger in the TTY so it's easier for you to see. There we go, that's better. Sudo pacman S xorg xinit. Let's download these packages and let's clear the screen and let's do an ls-8. And if you Vim, oh, I don't have Vim installed. So Manjaro comes with Vi and Nano. I don't like either one of them. So I'm going to download Vim. Let's do sudo pacman s vim. Let's install that. And of course, you don't have to install that. You can use Vi or Nano. Let's clear the screen. Now let's ls-8. So I want to Vim into this right here, this xinitrc file. And let's just set lines. Sorry, not lines. Let's set numbers. Okay, so if we go to the bottom, there are 64 lines in here. Okay, so I don't want to delete this file or overwrite it. So I'm going to save it with another name. So I'm going to do mv period xinitrc to period xinitrc period save. So we ls and do a. So we can see I've saved the file just with a different name, because I don't want to delete it or overwrite it with all that stuff in there. And now I'm going to make a new xinitrc file. I'm going to do vim period xinitrc, and I'm going to type in exec gnome dash session. And I'm going to save the file. And I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to type in startx. And let's see if we can get into our desktop environment. And there we are. We're in. So let's skip. And I'm going to turn off launch at start. I don't want the welcome menu to come on every time I log into here. And I'm going to close this. I'm going to right click display settings. And I'm going to change the resolution. I'm going to do this because it is a virtual machine. And I always have to change the resolution of my virtual machines. And I always change them to 1360 by 768. Let's apply it. Let's keep the changes and let's close it. And we're in. Now, I'm not sure why GDM, the login manager, the display manager, is not taking me in, or why I'm not even getting to there. So let's go into the terminal. So now, like I said to you, when we're in the desktop environment, the Zesh file is themed really nice. I like the way it's themed. And let's just change this preferences. I'm going to click on custom font. Oops, sorry, I'm going to click on custom font. Let's try Terminus. And I'm going to kick it up. It's at 11. Let's kick it up to 16. Let's select it. Let's go to colors. Let's click on this. And let's go custom. Let's go white on black. And let's click on bold. Let's click on Xterm. Let's click on this. And let's see if that makes the colors better. Now, I don't know why it's doesn't seem to be. Let's try that. Let's turn off GDM. We're going to do sudo system control disable GDM. So GDM is the login manager or the display manager that comes with GNOME, no matter what distribution you're using. So let's put my password in. Now let's reboot. And it's asking for my encryption password because I encrypted the system. So now it should automatically take me to the TTY. Unless there's a problem. So like I was saying, I think it has something to do with Wayland. Now, my last video, I did an install and post-installation changes to Manjaro XFCE, and I didn't have this problem. But XFCE, they haven't made themselves available to work with Wayland. So Manjaro XFCE by default installs Xorg. I think that's what's going on. But perhaps you know better, and if you do, let me know in the comments. So now we're at the TTY. Let's type in my name. Oop. And you know what? There. My mouse wasn't on this monitor. Okay. Let's put my password in. And let's just type in StartX. And there we are. We are logged into our system. Now, in this video, I'm not going to go through any post-installation changes because I did that in my last video. So this was my last video, Manjaro XFCE. And in that video, I went through installing the system, updating the system, and I made some post-installation changes. I even showed you how to use their graphical app to change kernels. So I did all that in this video. So I don't want to go and repeat myself in the video I'm working on right now because it's the same. So the installation, regardless of which Manjaro you're using, the installation is exactly the same. Updating the system is exactly the same. And the post-installation changes I would make are the same. So my only purpose for doing this video is to show you the workaround. And like I said, I don't know if you're going to have the problem with doing this on bare metal. I'm not sure. So let me know in the comments. Now, another thing I want to do is I want to see if I can get another display manager working or a login manager. So I'm going to try installing LightDM and see if that will work. And before I do that, I'm just going to update the system. So you know what? I'm going to do the update on camera, but I'm not going to do any post-installation changes. So I'm going to go to the package manager. I'm going to go to preferences. I'm going to put my password in. And of course, we have third-party stuff. Enable AUR, enable Flatpak. Let's just go to advanced. Oops. Let's go back to general. I just want to change the mirrors. Let's change the mirrors to Canada. There we go. Let's refresh the mirrors. And that's done. And I'm just going to go into the terminal and do my update. Let's do sudo pacman syu. Put my password in. Doing 70 updates. What I'm going to do is pause the video and come back and reboot into the system. And then I'm going to see if I can install LightDM and get that working because some people don't like using StartX. So don't go away. I'll be back. So that was 70 updates and it took, you can see right down here, it took 1 minute and 48 seconds. That's not bad. One thing I like about the Manjaro mirrors, and of course, like I mentioned in my last video, Manjaro has its own repository. So the updates, when you're installing new apps or when you're doing an update, it doesn't come directly from the Arch Linux repository. Manjaro takes all the packages, they transport it to their own repositories, they hold them back for 2 weeks of testing, and then they release them. So whenever you're installing a package or doing an update, it's coming directly from Manjaro. And their mirrors are really fast. I think their mirrors are faster than the Arch Linux mirrors. I could be wrong about that. I wouldn't argue about it. It only took 1 minute and 48 seconds. Let's do a reboot. Put my password in. And you know what? I should have re-enabled GDM, the login manager or the display manager, just to see if it would log in after an update, because now the system is up to date. So let's do that. But now it's going to take me to the TTY. So I should have did that before I hit reboot. Okay, let's put my password in. I'm not even going to log into the desktop environment. Let's well, let's just change the font. Okay, let's clear the screen. Let's do sudo system control, enable light DM. Put my password in. Oh, not light DM. GDM. And I spelled it wrong. Let's try that again. Okay, let's reboot. So now that we've done an update, let's see if it's going to let me go into GDM. I don't think it's going to, though. And I think it's, like I said, I think it's a Wayland problem between Wayland and my virtual machine. So let's see if GDM comes up, the login manager or the display manager. See, it's not loading up. I'm going to drop down to a TTY. Let's do a Manch. Put my password in. Let's change it to bash. Let's change the font. Let's clear the screen. So I'm going to do a sudo pacman s lightdm gtk dash greeter and lightdm gtk greeter settings. And I hope I typed all that right. Let's put my password in. And we're installing these packages. I want to see if lightdm is going to work. I think it's going to. And let's clear the screen. And what I'm going to do is change the font. Set the font back to the small font because I want you to see that line. Okay, so that's the line. It's a little bit small, but we installed lightdm GTK greeter, and lightdm GTK greeter settings. 132 bold. Let's clear the screen and let's do sudo system control disable GDM. Let's clear the screen, sudo system control enable lightdm. And let's reboot. And let's see, let's put in our encryption password in. And let's see if lightdm is going to work. And it's going to work. I'm pretty sure. Now, I haven't tested it out, but I'm like 90% sure it's going to work. Because we installed Xorg and we installed lightdm. lightdm comes up. Let's try this. Let's try GNOME on Xorg. Okay. Now let's see if it's stuck, and it did. Now let's put my password in. And some people don't like logging in from the TTY with StartX. And I have a feeling this time it's going to I knew it was going to work. Let's open up a terminal. And my Zesh font is working. The system is up to date. And like I said in this video, I'm not going to make any post-installation changes. I'm not going to show you how to change the kernel, how to use their graphical app to change the kernel, because I did that in my last video, in my XFCE video, and it's the same, because it's Manjaro. And what I'm about to say applies to GNOME, the GNOME desktop environment, no matter what distribution you're using. So what I'm about to say doesn't apply only to Manjaro. It applies to pure Arch Linux, Debian, or any other distribution you're using when you download the GNOME desktop environment. And it's this. GNOME desktop environment, like any desktop environment, comes with a lock screen. You know, you press an icon and it locks your screen, and you have to use your user password to get back into it. You don't have to reboot it or anything. And I'm sure everybody knows this. So with the GNOME desktop environment, when you log in with a StartX or another display manager or login manager like lightdm or SDDM or some other one, the lock screen doesn't work. The lock screen is disabled. The lock screen only works when you log in with GDM, which is the display manager or the login manager that was made to work with, that comes with the GNOME desktop environment. If you log in with GDM and we weren't able to get in with GDM, there would be an icon here, somewhere around here, to lock the screen. And that's disabled because we didn't get to our desktop environment with GDM, the GNOME display manager or login manager. So when you log in with StartX from the TTY or any other display manager or login manager, that lock screen is disabled. Now there's a workaround that you can install slock, and let's do that. Let's do sudo pacman lock. Let's put the password in, and that would be the workaround, and that's installed. Now let's go to keyboard settings. Let's go here. And I'm not going to really do any other post installation changes. This is the only thing I'm going to do. And let's go to, oh, I'm going to do one more thing. Let's just change this wallpaper. It really bothers me. And of course, you can install all your own wallpaper. But of course, GNOME, regardless of what distribution you're using, GNOME comes with light and dark wallpapers. And I'm just going to install this one. Let's get out of there. So when you turn off the dark theme, the wallpaper changes. I really like that. And then when you turn on the dark theme, it changes there. So, oh, sorry. Let's go to display settings. Oh, no, sorry. Let's go to settings and let's go to keyboard. Let's go to view and customize shortcuts. Let's go down to the bottom and let's do custom shortcuts. Let's click on that. Let's add a shortcut. We're going to type in slock. The command is going to be slock. And I'm going to set the shortcut, and I'm going to make it the super key, the Windows key L. Oh, Windows key L is already being used. Well, let's replace it. Okay, and let's close this. Let's close this, and let's see if it works. Mod key L. And the screen is locked. So let's type in a password. Now I'm just going to type in a wrong password. Let's hit enter. And it doesn't work. Let's hit enter. Let's type in the right password. And it's unlocked. And that's slock. And that's it. In this video, I showed you how to do a workaround with Manjaro Gnome Edition. If for some reason you're not able to get to the display manager or the login manager, GDM, or you're not able to log on to the desktop environment. And like I said, I think the problem that I was having has something to do between Wayland and Virt Manager, the virtual machine I'm using. But I'm not sure, and I didn't try it on bare metal. Now, in this video, I showed you two workarounds. I showed you how you can log in through the TTY, and with that, you had to download Xorg xnrc and make and save your .xnrc file and remake a new one with exec GNOME session in it. And you can log in that way, or you can download LightDM files or the LightDM apps and get into it that way. So that's a workaround. Now, the thing is that I've installed the GNOME desktop environment on pure Arch Linux. and I didn't have that problem, logging into a GDM, the display manager, or getting onto the desktop environment. I've only had that problem with Manjaro. Why? I don't know, but I think it has something to do with Wayland and my virtual machine. And if you happen to know or you understand it better than I do, let me know in the comments. Now in this video, I didn't do much post-installation changes because I did that in my last video. In my last video, Manjaro XFCE, I showed how to install the system, how to upgrade the system. I showed some of the post-installation changes I would make, and I showed how to use their GUI application to change the kernel, to easily change the kernel. So I didn't want to go through all that again today in this video, because most things in Manjaro Gnome Edition are the same as they are in Manjaro XFCE Edition, except it's a different desktop environment. So my main purpose for doing this video was to show you that workaround in case you wanted to install it and you have that trouble, the same trouble as I did. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.